Wait, how are you making six figures and still checking your bank account before tapping your card? Like, wasn't $100,000 supposed to be the point where you made it? Where you stop stressing about money, start saving properly, maybe even feel a bit ahead? But instead, you pay rent, buy groceries, fill up your car, and somehow you're back at zero again. So what's going on here? My name is Stan, and I like to spend my time thinking about money, systems, and why things that should work don't. If you find yourself quietly wondering where your income is disappearing to, you'll probably get something out of this. Subscribe if you want more of this kind of breakdown, because this matters. A lot of people think the problem is them, that they're bad with money, that they're overspending, that they're doing something wrong, but the reality is, the system has shifted, and $100,000 today doesn't function the way people think it does. Let's break down the mechanism. First, tax takes more than you think. On paper, $100,000 sounds clean, six figures, but you don't live on $100,000. You live on what's left. After income tax and Medicare levy, you're taking home roughly about $75,000 to $78,000, which is around $1,450 per week. Now pause there. That's the number that actually matters, not the headline salary, what people think, I earn $100,000. What's actually happening? You're living on closer to $75,000. That's a 25% haircut before you've even made a single decision. It's like ordering a full meal, and someone eats a quarter of it before it gets to your table. Second, housing is quietly eating everything. Let's say you're renting in a major city. A fairly normal one-bedroom apartment might cost $500 to $650 per week. Let's take the middle, $575 per week. That's $29,900 per year. After tax, that's nearly 40% of your income gone, just on rent. And that's before utilities, before internet, before furniture. What people think, rent is just one expense. What's actually happening? Rent is the main character in your financial life. And it doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care if you had a quiet month. It's just there every week. Third, inflation isn't loud, but it's relentless. You don't notice inflation in one big hit. You notice it in small annoyances. Groceries that used to be $80, now $120. A casual dinner that used to be $20, now $35. Fuel creeping up every few weeks. Let's say groceries $150 per week to $7,800 per year. Eating out plus coffee $80 per week to $4,160 per year. Fuel $70 per week to $3,640 per year. That's already over $15,000, and we haven't added anything fancy. No holidays, no big purchases, just existing. What people think, I'm spending a bit more here and there. What's actually happening? Your baseline cost of living has permanently shifted up. It's like trying to walk up a down escalator. You're moving, but not really getting anywhere. Fourth, lifestyle creep doesn't feel like luxury. Here's the tricky one. You don't suddenly start living like a millionaire at $100,000. You just upgrade slightly, better gym, nicer dinners, Uber instead of public transport sometimes, maybe a newer phone, a subscription or two. Individually, none of this feels excessive, but together, it stacks. Let's say subscriptions, $50 per month to $600 per year. Gym, $30 per week to $1,560 per year. Transport mix, $80 per week to $4,160 per year. That's another approximately $6,000 plus. What people think, I'm not even spending that much. What's actually happening? You've quietly raised your cost of living to match your income. It's like pouring water into a bucket with a slightly bigger hole each time. No matter how much you add, it drains just as fast. Fifth, big expenses hide in the background. This is where things really add up, because not everything hits weekly. Some costs are sneaky: car registration, insurance, health costs, travel, gifts, unexpected repairs. Let's say you own a car. Insurance, $1,200 per year. Rego. $900 per year. Maintenance, $1,000 per year. That's $3,100 before fuel. Then maybe flights to visit family, $1,000. Random life events, $2,000. Now we're at another $6,000 plus. What people think? These are occasional expenses. What's actually happening? They are guaranteed, just irregular. It's like getting lightly punched in the wallet on a random schedule. Let's run the math. Let's stack it all. After-tax income, approximately $75,000. Expenses: rent, $29,900. Groceries plus food, $11,960. Fuel, $3,640. Lifestyle, gym, subscriptions, transport, $6,320. Car plus irregular costs, $6,000. Total, approximately $57,820. What's left? About $17,000, or roughly $325 per week. And that's before savings goals, investments, emergencies, actual fun. So yeah, $100,000 doesn't feel like enough, because when you break it down, it kind of isn't. Sixth, expectations haven't caught up to reality. This is the part people don't like hearing. $100,000 used to mean something different. It used to put you ahead. Now, it mostly keeps you stable. Comfortable maybe, but not wealthy. What people think? I should be thriving at this income. What's actually happening? You're maintaining a modern baseline. It's like using a blowtorch to light a cigarette. The input feels big, but the output doesn't match. So what's the actual takeaway? It's not that you're failing, it's that the number hasn't kept up with reality. $100,000 is no longer a freedom number. It's a you can breathe, but not relaxed number. And once you see the breakdown, it makes sense why it feels tight. A few simple rules that actually help. Not advice, just patterns that tend to work. Track your after-tax income, not your salary. That's your real playing field. Treat rent like your biggest lever. Small changes here matter more than cutting coffee ever will. Build a buffer for invisible expenses, because they're not optional, just unpredictable. Cap lifestyle upgrades early. If your income rises, don't let your baseline rise with it immediately. Focus on margin, not just income. What you keep matters more than what you earn. And the final thought is this. You don't feel broke because you're bad with money. You feel broke because the system quietly moved the goalposts and didn't tell you. Once you see that, you stop blaming yourself and start playing the game properly.